Hey everyone, this is Mario again, coming at you another movie review. Today's review is of a movie I've been meaning to see for a while, and I finally got around to watching it today. It took a while for me to be able to watch it because of some technical difficulties, but I finally got around to watching it. It is the 2012 reboot of the comic character who is the title comic book character. The movie is directed by Pete Travis, and it stars Karl Urban, Olivia Thirlby, Wood Harris, and Lena Headey or something. And of course the movie I'm talking about is Dredd. Now, first of all, I'm going to get off. You guys all know from my review of the Stallone movie that that's how I got introduced to the character, and then I did research into the comic book history and stuff. Well, when I heard they were going to do a reboot, I'm like, yeah, might as well. And then I did a little bit of research and stuff. And you guys all know, even though I do like the Stallone film, I do have some problems with it. Like, even though I don't mind the campiness, that's one of the problems that held the film back. And it's also one of the things I wonder. One of my problems is, why is this movie R-rated? But you guys all know that from my review. But I can watch. I like that movie, but yeah, I will admit it has problems. This movie, as you can tell from the title, I loved as well. And I have to say that if the Stallone film had been toned like this, that movie probably would have spawned a series. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it would have made more money. Maybe it wouldn't have. But it probably would have spawned a franchise of at least 3 films. But anyway, that's something I'll get into later. Now, I don't know where to begin with this because there's a few things I need to mention with this film. Oh yeah, now I remember what I was going to say. It was why it took me a while to see this movie. Now, as you all know, when the movie came out, I kept saying, oh, I'm going to go see it, I'm going to go see it. But the reason I didn't is because of this. Yes, I know this is a Naruto wallet, so sue me, but I did not have any of this. Or as they said in Three Stooges, a lot of this. I did not have any, a Resist Booger reference, but I didn't have any money. Or I didn't have it, or just barely had any money, and I was using it for gas in my scooter. But when I finally did get money, they had started pulling the movie out of theaters, which that is kind of sad, and that's the reason that this movie so far has flopped. Because according to Wikipedia, on a $45 million budget, it's only made $36 million, and I don't know if that's worldwide or even just in the United States, but it deserved to at least make double its budget back. And that's why I hope that the producers of this movie, when they said that they hope if it made $50 million in the United States to get a sequel, I hope that they take in how much money it will make in January when it comes out on DVD. I hope they take that into account, because I will be spending money to get this on DVD when it comes out. Maybe I'll pre-order it, maybe I won't, but I know I will buy it. I just hope that they take that into account and we do get at least one sequel to this, because this movie deserves a sequel. Now, first of all, I will say Pete Travis, he knows how to direct action, and even if he doesn't get to direct a sequel to this movie, I want to see him direct more action movies. Now, I know before this he directed a movie in 2009 called Endgame, which I'm checking to see real quick what... It is a British movie, but it's not saying what genre it's in. It has William Hurt in it. It doesn't seem like it'd be an action movie just based on it. I guess it's like a thriller. And then before that, he directed the movie Vantage Point, which I still need to see that movie. It's the one with Sigourney Weaver and a bunch of other actors about the assassination attempt on a president. So that was a thriller. I want to see it. Now, like I said, here he knows how to direct action. Now, before I get into the plot, now I'll talk about the basic plot first. Now, the plot is that it's the future. The United States is a radiated wasteland known as the Cursed Earth. On the East Coast lies Mega City 1, which is a giant city that stretches between Boston and Washington, D.C., and it houses more than 800 million residents. And of course, there's thousands of crimes reported each day, and a new drug called slow-mo has come onto the streets, which is an addictive drug that slows the user's perception of time. Now, the only force of order are the judges, who act as judge, jury, and executioner all in one. Now, one of the most famous judges is, of course, Dredd, and the plot is that he is tasked by the Chief Justice with evaluating rookie Judge Anderson. Now, Anderson, she took the test to become a judge, but she barely failed it, like only a couple marks off, so the Chief Justice wants to see if she still would be fit, and that's why she's sending Anderson with Dredd. Now, while they're out on their patrol thing with the test, they get a call in that these people have been murdered. They go to this one building, which is a big building, like the size of a whole block, going upwards. So, you know, they got a lot of people. They got to build upward. You know, like in a city, build up, build up. Well, they find bodies, and then they eventually find this one guy who apparently they find out from Anderson's psychic powers. That's right, Anderson's a psychic. That he was involved with the death, so they're going to take him out. But they're stopped because apparently this building is where slow-mo is being manufactured. And the leader of the gang manufacturing it is a woman named Mama, who is in charge of this gang, and the person they're arresting is a member of the gang who, if interrogated, would give up a lot of stuff on her, so Mama doesn't want the judges to take him out. So she locks down the building and sends a bunch of her goons after Dredd and Anderson, and the plot is that they have to figure out a way to get out alive, and that's basically the movie, them trying to survive and trying to get her. And I have to say that the movie does move at a pretty good pace. It's only about 90-something minutes, and I did not feel bored at all. If anything, it was because of the quality of the picture, because yes, I will admit, I watched this movie online, and it's because no place around here is freaking showing it. The cheap theater isn't showing it yet. Diamond isn't showing it yet. I mean, when I first got money, the closest place showing it was a town called Oceanside. Now, for those of you wondering, those of you not familiar with Southern California's geography, now, Lake Elsinore, which is the closest city to where I live, is about 4 miles away from where I live. The part of the city where we LARP at is 8 miles. My school is about 12 miles away. The DMV I got my motorcycle license is about 20 miles away. And Corona and Norco, where we have usually our day events for LARP, is about 25 miles away, give or take. North. Oceanside is about, I'm going to say, you have to go 15, 16 miles south, and then turn off the freeway and go like and then a few miles west. That's just me guessing. It could be 20 miles, I don't know. I've never actually timed it. But let's just say that the roads there, I'm not going to drive by with my scooter through roads I'm not really that familiar with just to go see a movie. Especially if there's side roads, you know, it'll take a longer time. So that's why I decided to do that. And if there's anything confusing with the movie, it was a few times where the camera went out of focus, and at one point it looked like they stopped to change batteries. But if so, I might have missed something in the movie, but it didn't stop me from guessing what was going on. But anyway, as you can tell, as I've said already, I love this movie, and it didn't deserve to frickin' flop. I know a bunch of my friends have said stuff like Matt did a whole video about why it shouldn't have flopped, and I agree, it shouldn't have frickin' flopped. Twilight is making millions of dollars, and this millions of dollars it doesn't deserve. I can say that. I read the book and I saw the first 2 movies. Twilight sucks. It can suck. In the words of DX, Twilight, let's get ready to suck it. But this movie, a fun movie, this flops. Now, onto the acting. Now, Karl Urban plays Judge Dredd in this movie, and I have to say he did a very good job. He wasn't over the top like Stallone was at a couple times in the 95 movie, which I didn't mind his over the topness in that movie at times, but other times it's like, what? But as you guys already know my thing on that in that review. But here Karl Urban did a good job. I did like the raspy voice he gave the character, but apparently he found it difficult to sustain, which I can understand why it is difficult to speak in a raspy voice. One thing I will say is he does the raspy voice right, unlike Adrian Brody and Christian Bale, where they're over it. Like Christian Bale and them are like, this planet is a game preserve. What's a game? This city, it shows you it's full of people ready to believe in good. No. He's more like subtle. Let's see if I can do it. He's more like, because I can barely do a raspy voice without because it does hurt. That just hurt a little bit, but that's me over the top with it. His is kind of like, I am the law. You ready, Lookie? Rookie. And it kind of reminds me of like a Clint Eastwood type voice, you know, like, now you just gotta ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk? You know, kind of like that. It's funny, I do it with Eastwood's line, but I can't do it with Dredd's line. damn. But anyway, he did a very good job. He made Dredd seem like a badass, and he basically did not give an F about anyone. And which, of course, I know that's how the character is written. If there's one thing, the character did not really have too much character development other than showing you what the character was. But I don't really have a problem with that. I'll say in the 95 film he had more character development while establishing that he was a hard ass. And with that, it actually does make me wish that the films were kind of flipped. That maybe this would have been the plot of the first. That if the Slice film didn't have the problems it had, that the story of this film would have been the first movie, and then the story of the 95 movie we got with modifications would have been the second movie. Because I hear that of the trilogy that they wanted based off this one, that the second movie would be basically about Judge Dredd's origin, so they'd have to bring in Rico for that at least. Hopefully more like how they did in the comics to distance itself from Slice film, but would be interesting. But Urban I liked. If there's one thing I have to say, it's something he said in an interview, and that is that he doesn't give a damn what Sly thinks of the movie. Way to shoot yourself in the foot there, Urban. Because granted, you're not... The only movies that I know you from that I really liked you in was I liked you as Éomer in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and I liked you as the bad guy in that movie Priest. Other than that, I can't really think of any major roles you had off the top of my head. But don't knock Sly. Granted, I don't know if he actually commented on it because they just asked you... What they asked him was that if Sly commented on the film, what would you say? And he's like, I don't give a damn. Sly is an action legend. If he praise... I don't know if he said anything like I said, but if he praises you, don't knock his praise if he did. I mean, if I was playing Dredd and I heard Sly praise my performance as a role, I'd be happy. Heck, if I was in a remake of a movie and the person who I played this role that they played praised my performance, I'd be happy. You know, I'm just saying that in general. I'm just saying, like, if I was in the remake of Highlander and Lambert or Connery praised my performance, I would thank him, and I'd appreciate the praise. I wouldn't shoot the actor, metaphorically speaking, but anyway. Olivia Thirlby plays Judge Anderson, which I'm not really familiar with the character because she wasn't in the 95 one, so I just know basically what they put in front of me on the screen, and I liked her performance. You know, she did seem like she really wanted to be a judge dedicated to justice, and while at the same time being kind of vulnerable. Like when she has to execute that one gang member, you can tell she's kind of hesitant a little bit, which kind of fits her being a rookie. You know, first time she has to execute someone, you kind of going to be like that until everything sets in, and then you're like Dredd, you're a hard ass. I mean, they even talk about that in the 95 film, but this one they kind of nail it in a little bit more because of the dire situation. But she did a good job. Let's see. Lena Headey as Mama. Perfect job as the villain. Perfect casting choice. She was really despicable. And apparently she based her performance off a punk rock singer, and I can tell. Because she's like a woman that doesn't really give a fuck. Kind of all out for herself, wanting to make money off the drug, doesn't care if it hurts people or something. And you could, like, how what lows she'll steep to, like bribing judges, which I did like that they brought that in. And of course at the end with the whole bomb thing, I like that. And the only thing that I know Lena from is that she played Sarah Connor on the TV show Sarah Connor Chronicles. But she did a good job here. I'm glad she's still getting work. Wood Harris is Kay, who is one of Mama's workers, the one that gets caught. I think he did a good job. Dom Now Gleason as Mama's tech expert. I thought he did a good job. And where I saw him from, this is the one I want to comment on. I thought he looked familiar at first despite the quality of the picture, and then when I looked up his filmography before I started recording this, I saw where I recognized him from. I recognize him from two different places. He played Bill Weasley in the last two Harry Potter movies, and he played Moon the Kid in True Grit. Moon the Kid, I think, is the one that gets his fingers cut off. You know, that scene where, you know, I can do nothing for you, son. You know, that scene. He did a good job as a computer expert. Kind of scary and intimidated by Mama. You know, like, I want to change jobs. He's like almost like a scared version of that guy from Robot Chicken. Yeah, I gotta get that transfer to Coruscant. You know, all that. Now, I didn't really notice much CGI in the movie other than, like the establishing shots of the buildings and some stuff during the slow-mo. But it was well used, and the slow-mo scenes, I actually wonder how they look like in 3D, because I heard that they actually look pretty good in 3D. I did notice some practical effects, but maybe it was just me or something, and I did like it. Like I mentioned, the action was well shot. The music I thought was pretty good. If anything I want to know is, why was the song I Am the Law not in this movie? Perfect opportunity to use it. Like Trachtenberg mentioned for the 95 film, it should have been I Am the Law. I Am the Law. At the very least, Justice of the Peace by Iron Maiden. Waiting for justice, waiting for justice of the peace. That song feels like it was kind of written for the 95 film without being written for the 95 film. At least that's what I think. I don't know what else to say. Kind of sad this movie flopped. I think partially it's because of the time, place when it was released, late September and stuff. I think it's probably because of that, because of all the blockbuster films being released, which that's one of the problems with Hollywood, is that they're releasing too many movies with high budgets. I mean, Disney released its first mega flop in years this year, and hopefully they don't repeat it next year with, the Lone Ranger movie, which that movie actually does look interesting to me. Johnny Depp as Tano. Can't go wrong with that. And anyway, my rating for Dredd is 5 out of 5, because I can't really think of any problems with this movie. I mean, it had an excellent pace, it had a great cast, and they had a great performance. They had chemistry to some of the actors. I liked how Dredd was portrayed. I liked the direction. The score was good. The technical things was all sound. All around a perfect action movie, I thought. And as you can tell, I highly recommend it for those of you who have not seen the movie. Yes, I'm checking a text message while I'm finishing the review, so sue me. What are you going to do? Well, it's not like Judge Dredd is going to walk in here and give me a fine. See? Nothing.